Welcome to the Hot Dog Stand Podcast, Episode 10. I'm Brian McCann, driver of the number 3 Spartan Management IROC Challenge Series.
Hi, I'm Neil Quick, driver of the number 2 Spartan Logistics R&R Racewear Loud Pedal Media Chevrolet Camaro.
And I'm Brian Rick, driver of the number 11 Spartan Transportation Chevrolet Camaro.
And I'm one of your hosts, Chris Wally, driver of the 51 Spartan Transportation R&R Racewear Loud Pedal Gaming Chevrolet.
And I'm your executive producer, Kyle Pendergraph, driver of the number 14, The Weapon IROC Challenge Series Spartan Transportation Chevy Camaro. And welcome to episode 14, guys. We were going to have special guest Josh White on this evening. Unfortunately, there were some technical difficulties that was not allowing us to make that possible. So we're going to be working with Josh to set up a better time and date to do a recording with him. So bear with us. It's just going to be the 5 of us tonight. We are going to talk on some topics here. We are going to bring up the Bubba Wallace incident. If you didn't see the video from last night that we recorded, I'll be sure to post a link to it as well. So we're just going to touch bases on it a little bit tonight. The Kevin Harvick announcement as far as he's ready to retire, basically. And then also we're going to talk a little bit of Tony Stewart being a little fed up with NASCAR, which, I mean, who can blame him, right? So with that...
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens, UMP Modified and Silver Crown driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Chris, why don't you go ahead and take us into our IROC race at Daytona last night, and maybe we can let Neil over here kind of fluff his muscles for a minute.
Last week, not last night.
Last night.
Mute his microphone. We've already heard it.
Right? No, absolutely. You know, last week, race 10 of the regular season, it was our season finale. There was about 4 or 5 of us right there on the bubble of who's going to make the playoffs. And then you always have that wild card at Daytona, so somebody that's not even close to the playoffs, as long as they qualified in with enough races ran and they had won the race, they may take a spot. But our very own Neil Quick got race win number 1 of the season under his belts, a little momentum going into the playoffs. You know, so we're only halfway into this deal, so there's a lot more races to go there. But Neil, he ran, let's see here, led 19 laps of the 100 laps that were run, had a very clean race, had one incident early that he was caught up in, had some pit strategy, came back out, raced a smart race. I know I was back there with him, hanging out in the back for a moment about mid-race, and I'll tell you what, him and the McCanns, they went to the front real quick. And,
quick.
Yeah, quick.
Quick word there.
Yeah, figured it out right there. So, Neil, you had a little bit of help. I know you gave a lot of praise to someone that we recently had on the stand. Tell us about your race and how you felt about it.
Yeah, felt pretty good. Normal, typical Daytona race for me, just trying to ride out and survive out there and stay away from the weapon, the 14 car, of course. I mean, you're going to get some incident points around that guy. And I won't kick it over to Brian Rick yet.
Don't even pan over to me yet.
Him and my brother, I mean, they could tell some stories under caution there, but I
got yelled at by your brother because of what happened.
Yeah, he won't even actually come on the podcast. He says that he's so angry still. But no, it was a good race. Fortunately for me, timed out right, and did have an incident with, I think, the 12 car in the back straightaway that, for me, I don't know how I ended up at the front. I did, and somehow ended up in front of the 70 car, which was just Aaron Smith definitely had his cheater motor in that night because it was pushing me like a dog in front. And then Kevin and Brian were on the outside, and I'm gonna tell you, I was waving every time I pulled ahead of them and tried to stay ahead of them. So, but for me, anytime you can beat those two guys, I've been watching the replay over and over and over, so I've wore it out. So, but I'm glad that happened, and it was a pretty good race for a Daytona race. Pretty happy for it. I still don't mind it if they took and filled it in with water and made it a fishing pond, though.
I think we only had 5 cautions, 2 of those being stage breaks. I will say there was 2 cautions that should have happened, right?
Yeah.
I know there was one.
Yeah, there was a
incident
big
in turn-
one.
Yeah, there's a big one in turn 3 and 4 that should have happened. I know Chris Medford, he got turned, but it was coming to the white flag. But then Brandon Medford had gotten into the wall in 1 and 2, and I thought I had my race strategy on point. I ended up with 0 incident points all night long. Was at the point of go with that fast repair, ready to rock and roll, and Medford got in the wall there, and I hit the brakes. Caution didn't come out, and y'all just pulled away. So I was hurting off after that one there.
Yeah, those cautions at the end really kind of didn't pop up that should have popped up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of changed the outcome of the race pretty big, and fortunately for me, it probably was the best for me. Not so much for you.
When I heard you won it, I'm like, well, how the hell did he win that? And then
Well, I said the same thing. I mean, I was riding around the back and just trying to save my car and not get caught up in the big one, and I actually was one of those legit cautions. I was going on the back straightaway being passed and had somebody move up on me and yard sailed it. And unfortunately, I had to use my quick repair. So if we really did get racing there at the end or have an accident up front, I was probably going to be parking it.
yeah.
You know, I thought about that way post race, obviously, but I was like, okay, Neil has used his quick repair, Brian has used his, Aaron has used his. They're all up there in the front race, and I still got one. My ass should have been up there, like,
Burning up a
if we
quick
all
repair.
wrecked, and
Yeah.
the hell with y'all are out. I got one more.
You forgot to throw the banana peel or shoot the red shell.
Yeah. No, I need one of them shells.
Right.
Speaking of shells, I think Brian and Cook had one of those under a caution, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Well, Kyle's
red-
got a red shell on his head right now, and he threw that thing out there.
I
Let's-
mean,
Let's explain this. Let the weapon talk about it first here. I want to hear.
Yeah, but everybody needs to know what we're talking about here.
So it was, I don't know what stage of the race we were. I think it was still first stage, wasn't it?
first stage.
First stage. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you. And we're under caution. I'm coming down the back stretch, and we're starting to check up for the pace car. I wasn't paying good enough attention, I guess. And next thing I know, Brian's bumper was about 6 feet from my front bumper by the time I noticed. And I jerked to the right, hit the brakes, and I clipped the right corner of him and just shot him to the left. And
Shot me right into quick, and he yelled at me.
He dropped, from what I could tell on the broadcast, he was trying to sip on his hot chocolate and dropped it on his flannel pants.
That's right.
And he just kind of,
You know, and not only to make that worse, I go in and I wasn't mad. I mean, shit happens. I had a quick repair. A little bit early in the race, but I go in, get my quick repair, and I'm pacing around. And I'll be damned if I didn't get down there to get a drink or look at my phone or something, and I creamed the wall, and that was, I mean, destroyed my race car. So that's what pissed me off. I was done for the night after that.
Man, it sounds like you guys have some tremendous issues under caution.
I'm telling you, man.
Drinking and driving.
The thing about it is, for me, like under caution, I'm normally one that stays far to the left or the right of
Yeah,
whoever's in front of me. Always very aware of what's going on in front, but for some reason, I lost all train of thought.
Had it in fourth gear.
That's something. I think I still had to pedal down.
so McCain, you only had 4 incident points, but you got in that one big wreck. So you were pretty clean the rest of the night after that.
I was the cause of the wreck.
Yeah, he
Well,
blew
I
up.
wasn't going to bring all that up, but I appreciate you being honest.
No, yeah, I'll talk about it because, I was drafting. I was figuring out the draft. I knew you could hit coming out of 4, you can hit coming out of tribal, and you can hit on the back stretch. And that's what I was doing. And I was doing it to where I was keeping my temp low. Well, Aaron on the outside, or I think it was Aaron or whoever, and maybe Aaron was pushing, but that outside line was coming, and I didn't want them to drop in front of Kevin, so I was pushing down the whole backstretch, and the gauge went red, and as soon as it went red, it blew up. It's been a long time since I've seen it do that, but sometimes you can get away with going red a little bit, but that time it didn't. So I'm going to fire my engine guy.
Yeah, it's tough there. So it sounds like we got just a lot of blame going on in this room right now for some cautions and bent up race cars, but that's okay. Yeah, when I saw the replay of it, I didn't know what the heck happened there because that was definitely something out of character. Obviously, looked like that car just, especially right there in the turn, got loose, got to the apron, and once you hit the apron in the turn, there's no saving that.
No.
Yeah, I hit the apron, and I was trying to get my talk button, but my finger slipped off, and I was too late on it, but I was trying to tell everybody it was blowing up. So that didn't work out in my
We appreciate the thought. It's the thought that counts.
It's the
I
thought,
wasn't
yeah.
involved, so.
Oh shoot!
You know the way NASCAR does the live radio chatter for the race before, like for the weekend. I think it'd be awesome just to have like the Discord chatter, just have
Oh,
clips from it,
absolutely,
just play it back.
absolutely.
Because I'm gonna tell you, it's entertainment just to have my brother in my own Discord with me. I'm
We
all
always say
quiet.
we're going to go down there and see what they're saying, but then we think better of it.
Yeah, you're scared to cook.
Well, I was down in there, jumped in the lion's den a couple weeks ago, so.
Yeah, but you can't get anything major. I just gave
Because I
something
caught the
that's
tail end of it. Your brother caught the front end of it.
Well, that was after the race. That was a whole different episode of it. That's after dealing with Cook all the way through the race.
It's true. That's true. Yeah, it looks like, let's see here. David Brown, he had the fastest lap of the race, fastest lap average. Kevin McCann led the most laps. There's some different names. Brian Kaufman led 9 laps. Brian, you led a lap. James Kaufman led a lap. Cook led 6. So we definitely had some names up there. Jeff Napier, we hadn't seen him in a while. He came in and led about 10 laps there. So
What are you saying? I'm a back marker?
no, it's just it's good to see see some guys up there.
Hey, I'm not used to running up front. I never lift.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. You in Daytona that race one,
Yeah,
of the season. I thought you were going to take that one. That dang
I did
fuel
too,
pump.
man. I did too. I think I was what, half a lap short
Yep, going down the back straightaway.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Backstretch.
backstretch. Yeah,
Yep.
that sucked, man.
I was
How many-
watching that race, so yeah.
How many super speedways we got in the playoffs?
I think one. Talladega, maybe.
The weapon will be there.
Yeah, so race 1 of round 2, Talladega.
Yeah,
But
the weapon will influence the outcome on that one.
I'll tell you what, race 1 of round 1 is going to be I think it's going to be a good one. We're going to Michigan.
I like
And
Michigan.
Yeah,
I
that's
do
a
too. That'll
track
be fun.
wide. As long as guys just mind their P's and Q's, it's going to be a nice little race. Brian's going to save up all his tires and figure out how to run that ship. Pretty good at that. Now, I will say, when we ran that charity race, when me, Neil, and Brian McCann tag teamed on that deal, that was a lot of fun. So hopefully we see some more racing like that.
Yeah, I think the racing will be good.
Let me take a minute to tell you about my experience using SimCoach's pedals. I myself am a current owner of the SimCoach's P1 pedal hydraulic pedals, and I have to say they have made my racing so much better and easier. And I highly, highly recommend that you go and you check out these pedals and get a set for yourself as well. You'll find yourself able to get into the corner deeper, brake harder, exceed the limits that you normally would take. Don't take my word for it. Go check them out at simcoaches.com and use our promo code to get 5% off IROC at checkout, or visit simcoaches.com/IROC to receive your 5% off. Thank you. All right. Well, any more on the race from Thursday night?
As long as the 14 is in front of you, you're safe. Outside of that, that's about it.
Yeah,
Kyle's going to need a hug after this.
all right. And so with that, we're going to go on into, well, guys, we already touched bases on it last night with Holler Talk about the Bubba Wallace incident. No new news has really come from it. One person that didn't give his opinion or his thoughts was Mr. Wally there. So I'd like to hear what he's got to say about the whole situation and get his take.
Yeah, Bubba made a bad choice. He made a bad decision. And I listened to some of y'all's opinions last night and seeing some of the chat and the in the video chat there. No doubt about it. Kyle went in there hot, went in there to pass 2, get a 2-for-1 there, and just like Bubba said, he didn't lift. Right, he's not going to lift. I don't lift. I do think that Bubba, at the end of the day, had a choice to make. You lift and you have that good of a race car, you're still racing and possibly racing for a win. He's on the outside, right? There's a wall there. You know it's coming. So make the choice to lift, keep your race car safe, and let him go on and maybe pass him the next lap. So that was the first mistake. I think the ego of I don't lift. And then he mentioned the part breaking. I think is total bullshit.
I want to see it. Show the broken parts.
Well, the throttle didn't stick.
Yeah.
He never lifted. So you've seen plenty of people hit a wall and they get off the gas and try to correct it and do it. He knew exactly what he was doing. So, now you're adding on to the problem. Completely take your car out of contention. You wreck, an expensive piece of machinery that a lot of man hours go into, a lot of money, and then you get out and you go and you're shoving around Kyle Larson, who's all of 5 foot, 120 pounds soaking wet. Does he do that to Kevin Harvick? No.
I wish he would.
His behind beat if he goes and does that to certain individuals. I think he knew Kyle wasn't going to retaliate on that deal. And it's something that we can already see the backpedal a little bit. Maybe it's not from Bubba. Maybe it's from some of the higher ups. Do I think that, Bubba's this terrible person and, now I don't like him? No, I think he made a bad decision in a heated moment and it cost him. And it cost a Toyota teammate as well. And so it made, went from a bad situation to worse real quick.
Yeah.
Well, we know Neil's on the hater wagon right now.
Well, again, I sit there and I watch videos. You guys couldn't beat me to punch. I just put a hellacious slide job on you guys. My thing about it is I watched the Josh Berry, AJ Allmendinger Xfinity pass that Berry, of course, won the race. There's nothing different. Berry stayed in the gas, hit the wall, said he wasn't going to lift. He took that chance. You can't tell me the car was that bad or broken that he ran into Kyle Larson the way he did. Why didn't he just try to? The car. These things seem to be tanks. Besides these arms that are breaking, whatever they are, toe links or whatever they are doing, but I think they're making those better. I didn't see a tire going down at that case. I didn't see something broke on the car, in my personal opinion. Why didn't he still stay in it and try to finish out? And Chris is right. He might have still had a car that could have won.
Well, too, and y'all probably touched on this last night. Look at how many guys are getting hurt in these things.
Mm-hmm.
It's about to cost Kurt Busch the tail end of his career. Harvick possibly stepping away because of everything going on. And then you're going to just turn a guy straight into the wall, knowing that all this has been going on.
He would have. If Bell wouldn't have hit him, I think Larson backs into the fence at 170 miles an hour, and he's sitting at home with a concussion right now. That's what I'm thinking.
Very well could
And
be.
yeah, I mean,
And it's just, and my thing too is, even right there at the end, him, Bubba the Bully, right? Just like you labeled it, he's wanting to go in there and flex his muscle a little bit and shove Kyle. And it's not even like just one shove and arguing about it. He kept coming and kept coming and kept coming at him. And it's, again, if it's somebody else, then I think that's different. Or if it's somebody pushing Bubba that way, I think it gets looked at in a whole nother light.
100%.
A lot more media negative attention on NASCAR.
Yep.
The headlines are different. So it's, I don't know. It's aggravating.
I mean, the hating part coming from me on this whole situation is, like I said, I want to like Bubba Wallace. I want to see him have success. Want to see him do it in a professional manner, necessarily like what Kyle Larson does. I mean, go out and prove his talent, show him on the weekend that he can drive the car, not acting like an idiot getting out of the car, causing the shit that he did out on the racetrack. And the other thing is, Chris, you said it earlier, his ego. I mean, in the interview, I play the victim all the time. When they ask him about the fact of Christopher Bell and ruining his chase possibly, it's sport. Whatever. Shut up and get out of here. Bush League.
Yeah. He is, I'm just going to say it. He is not that good of a race car driver to have the attitude, the arrogance that he has. He just isn't. And then, you compared, you talked about Josh Berry in the Xfinity race. Josh Berry is 10 times the driver that Bubba Wallace is. So,
well, and I'm gonna go back to the post wreck and the deal with Larson, him shoving him around. Look at how far he had to freaking walk to get.
He
to
walked
him.
a long ways.
Yeah.
You had plenty of time to cool the hell off before
Hell
you got there. You were putting on a show for whatever reason. And you look at, I look at the Ty Gibbs deals earlier. I know we've all talked about that a little bit, the fighting he had. And, and you look at that and you go, yeah, that was dumb. But then I'm going, that's an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
He's playing in a grown man sport, but it's an 18-year-old kid making an 18-year-old decision.
Mm-hmm.
Bubba's been around for a while. Yep. He understands the situation. He understands how hard it was to get to where he's at. And how fast that can be taken away. And so I just,
But the thing is honestly, I'm sure some of the things that Bubba faces from weekend to weekend, and again, I don't want to be thrown in this because I'm hating on him right now, is the fact that I'm not on Twitter and saying some of the things that I see people say about Bubba. That is totally unacceptable. But he's made this tougher for himself. Yeah. Agree or disagree?
I completely agree.
I mean, this guy, actually, he has the same ability as Kyle Larson or Bowman or Byron running super late. No, not talent, different. He has the ability to go race those races,
right,
and get better and win fans by showing people that he can drive.
Right.
I haven't seen this. I think Kyle even might have brought it up last night talking about this. We did see a Bubba documentary on how he can play drums and do some cool stuff like that to show his personality that I'm sure NASCAR funded or Toyota or whatever the case is to get everybody sold on him. I'm a race fan. I race 3 or 4 nights a week because I like racing. I love racing. I've been doing it since 6. I had somebody actually call me out, tell me that he's watched NASCAR for 55 years, watching our video from last night. We all have experiences and have been doing this for a long time. And my thing is, I do want to see Bubba Wallace succeed. Unfortunately, Bubba's probably the biggest factor that's making that not happen.
So I'm gonna say one more thing on this, and then I'm gonna be done with it. So Bubba Wallace, I had the same hopes for him that I had for Kurt Busch. Now I know these are completely 2 different caliber drivers, but I think that Bubba Wallace does have talent. I think that he probably hasn't shown all that talent hasn't come out of him yet. He's got to change his attitude like Kurt Busch did, like Kyle Busch is trying to. But if you look back at Kurt Busch in the beginning, what a dick. I mean, there's just no way to talk about it. He was a dick. So if Bubba Wallace can get to that mentality, it will make him a better race car driver. And that's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, and it's growth at the end of the day. And I think you don't, and let's be honest, you don't learn anything until you've made a mistake, right? Now, you continue to pile on the mistakes, and eventually opportunities run out.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, he had his situation, even in the iRacing thing, just quitting. Well, you lost a sponsor.
Right.
You're quitting iRacing. You know, now you have this. You know, he turned Kyle Busch at Watkins Glen going into turn 1. There's a video out there. He stuffed somebody in the wall, and they hit the end of a wall that was in the turn, and it flips him over.
Yeah.
What about the incident with the water bottle squirting in? It was a Byron.
Yeah, why he's sitting on the ground?
Right.
You know,
And the guy's about ready to pass out, and he's squirting water in his face, kind of being an asshole.
I mean, at some point, there's got to be some accountability, right? And that's not me saying he should lose a ride or lose a sponsor or anything else. But this incident, to me, is a lot different than the others because, one, what's at stake at those speeds in that car, knowing people are getting hurt. But then, two, even the reaction you have after the fact.
Yeah.
If turning him wasn't enough. So...
R&R Racewear, your source to all custom racewear apparel needs, and home to iRacing apparel. Check it out today at rnrracewear.com. All right.
There's Bubba beatdown.
Well, I think we're going to go ahead and move on, and we're going to cover the, let's see here, what we got next? Let's go into, there's been I want to call it a rumor. I won't say it's any kind of factual statement. That Tony Stewart is getting fed up with NASCAR, and a lot of people are assuming or come up with the idea that he might, after 2023, back himself out of NASCAR and stick more with his NHRA team. And then also, it's been stated that Stewart wants Cole Custer out of the car after 2023 or for 2023. But Gene Haas does not. So I don't know how much truth there is to this. I've seen a few things about that. And if it is true, what kind of, rift is it making inside of, Stewart Haas? So with those two topics right there, if any of y'all got anything, please feel free to join in.
Me. No, I think everybody thinks everybody in the media is fishing on this deal, and I think there's 100% something going on in the background here. I mean, you have basically the guy that runs Stewart Haas leaving the organization to go be the commissioner for the National Lacrosse League, which is Brett Frood. Brett and Jared Frood. Jared's, of course, running his own deal and doing marketing for some of the open wheel guys and different motorsports and stuff now. But Brett was the guy that kind of kept that ship straight. I mean, so many years of dealing with whatever Tony got involved with. And I mean, we all know what we're talking about here. I mean, Tony didn't make it easy for him over there. But I think it starts at the top. You've got that piece leaving. You have Dodge not coming in, and there's the rumors that Stewart Haas was talked about possibly being in that deal. And I don't think that's all Stewart Haas. I think that's possibly a deal where the money to come into this motorsport, just NASCAR Cup racing and being a manufacturer is too much. But there are definitely some key clues here, and with Tony coming out and we all knowing Tony being vocal, he's usually pretty vocal, and there's usually a move made. So I'm leaning towards the idea that be on the lookout for something here.
I definitely go ahead, Brian.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I definitely think that there's probably some trouble with that marriage there at Stewart Haas one person wanting one thing, one wanting the other. There was some talk, I believe, if I'm, correct me if I'm wrong, Harvick kind of speaking on Stewart a little bit earlier in the year of his absence with the team. I mean, when has Tony not been aggravated with NASCAR? So, I mean, to me, that's nothing new. He's since he was a driver, there are things he was aggravated with. But now life is different for him. He's married to the person, like truly married to Leah Pruitt, who is, racing for him now. And that's where his attention's at. Because he wants his real marriage to work out. And so I do think that there's probably some interest change there on top of some things not going the way he would like for them to go. And there could be some real possibility that he gets out of that deal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a big Smoke fan. Tony Stewart, just my absolute favorite race car driver in the world. He has never liked NASCAR. It's been no secret. I mean, he likes to make money, so you're going to go into NASCAR and make money. And I don't know if this all correlates to the Dodge announcements. I think that he was in line for Mopar to come back into to NASCAR, and I thought that was going to happen because of his alliance with into the NHRA. So
I think everybody did.
Yeah, I think maybe that has something to do with it. I don't listen. Tony Stewart does not need NASCAR. He don't. And you've heard him say it. The NHRA thing, the culture over there is way different. It's better suited for him. His wife, Matt Hagan, Dodge, so I do think he leaves. But on the flip side of that, I wouldn't put it past Smoke to go start a series and outside of SRX or grow SRX and do something on his own. Who knows what this guy will do, but he can do anything he wants. So I think his days in NASCAR are numbered.
Yeah, and I think if there actually is some truth with this, that I think it really stems back to taking Eldora away from the trucks. I think that's really where the pot really boiled over.
Yep.
And so, as it's been said already tonight, NASCAR or Tony's always had some kind of problem with NASCAR, even from the days that he was racing. So, I mean, if you all remember that Talladega interview he did, where he was the biggest smartass you could ever ask for, talking about run the cars backwards. We didn't wreck enough cars. Maybe we should, So that obviously tells you his frustration with NASCAR and how he thinks their standards are. And of course, every year NASCAR is always evolving to something different. So yeah, I think there is some truth to it. I don't know how much truth there is to it yet, though. So,
he's in love, man. He is in love and with his wife and drag racing, and that's where he's headed.
Yeah.
He's going to be the next Don Schumacher.
Yeah, more than anything, I think that's what it is.
Right.
There's aggravation on the NASCAR side. He's enjoying what he's doing now with the person he wants to spend time with.
Right.
And to your point, he doesn't need NASCAR.
He doesn't need NASCAR.
Why deal with that headache if you don't have to?
And I'll admit it. Excuse me, it pains me. Almost got choked up there to hear Stewart say, to possibly, this being true. I'm like, Brian, I grew up a Smoke fan. I literally live 45 minutes from his house. Like I've been to his property before. I know,
You drive the 14 car because of him.
Exactly. That is exactly why I'm in the 14 car. I mean, he's been my idol since I was, I don't know, 6th grade or something like that. So regardless of that, though, to, possibly see, my idol step away from the sport that he helped me enjoy and love and become infatuated with, it's a little painful if that is true. So, and I know there will become a time and, a point down the road, no matter what, that he will step away just because of age and retirement and stuff like that. So I hope it's not true right now, but I kind of feel that it could be.
I want to read a quick tweet from him today. This will show you his position with. Well, actually, no, I read it. He didn't write it, but this kind of states his opinion with NASCAR. Again, he didn't write this. I thought he did, but he actually says in his tweet that for a moment I thought this was true. This did not come from me, though. And it says, breaking, after further review of the Bubba Wallace Kyle Larson incident, NASCAR is elected to fine Rodney Childers an additional $100,000 and take Kevin Harvick's birthday away. We'll have more on this developing story.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That is hilarious. That is good stuff. So,
Well,
anyway,
I
if
can
he
say
leaves,
this.
we'll miss him.
I can say this: Tony Stewart has definitely found his Twitter password, and he has been vocal on Twitter here lately.
You're not wrong.
So, I think we'll move on to the next topic here because Brian McCann stated he doesn't know much on this topic, so he doesn't want to voice his thoughts. I guess he doesn't have much. That's all right, though. So the next one, and this will probably be close to the end of the show for us, is going to be Kevin Harvick and his potential. Well, first we'll touch on the vocalization of Kevin Harvick with NASCAR and its safety. I do want to touch on the safety for sure, real quick as well, and then also NASCAR coming after him with all these fines and penalties for a modified deck lid. And then also the main topic will be the discussion of Harvick, potentially coming up for retirement at the end of 2023, along with Almirola. So I'll let you all take it from here.
McCann.
Ditto.
Yeah, that's my new nickname, Ditto McCann.
Start us off, Neil. What's your opinion?
I'll start off the deck lid situation, and I kind of laughed about this because I heard in one of the other podcasts, I think one of the Dirty Mo's, that it was kind of laughed about because the deck lid on several cars had been modified. And ironically, I think we picked out Harvick, but I think that was the inside joke there that, hey, you're going to get a fine no matter what. You shouldn't have said what you said. And it's typical kind of bullshit that sometimes you see on that side from NASCAR.
Yeah, I haven't read a lot on this deck lid situation. I've kind of been watching Kevin Harvick a little bit, and if I'm being honest, I think Kevin Harvick is, I wouldn't say he's tired. He's probably tired of the NASCAR drama, obviously, but I think he is smart enough that he is not going to, I don't even know how to say it, man. If one hit, with everybody getting hurt and NASCAR not doing anything about these race cars at his pace, which they should have done something before now. I think he's just getting older. I think his frustration level with the sport is reached its limit. His kids are getting older where they can go racing, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go race."
Yeah, but this all stems back. I mean, you look at Harvick and Kyle Busch and these guys that have kids that are racing at different levels right now that are definitely going to be getting older and moving up the ladder. I mean, you got to keep in mind. I mean, the end result for these guys, I would still assume, is NASCAR.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah,
I mean, for Keelan Harvick, and I mean, even in the RCR signing of Kyle Busch, I mean, RCR's made it clear that Braxton's got a contract and made a big deal about that. Right. My thing is, you guys got to look at this down the road. I mean, the sport's going to change, and they're going to get the cars better. It's going to be a safer car. They've been very fortunate. We've all been fortunate. The car has been as safe as it has been since 2001. Is it a better car than what we had? I would probably say no. Aesthetically, is it good for the manufacturers, and is it easy on the eyes? Absolutely. Cool piece.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a cool piece.
I saw something that Keselowski talked about with the car, and y'all may have seen it as well, talking about the development of it, and it being a COVID baby, right? Being developed in a time where people couldn't get together, the testing they were doing probably wasn't the normal testing that they'd be doing. Getting the changes made maybe wasn't going to be able to happen fast enough, and they had an end date committed.
Yeah.
So, obviously we've seen everything that's been going on. My opinion with Kevin, though, too, is Neil, you touched on a little bit with the kids racing. I don't know if y'all saw where Keelan was racing on Sunday, but while Kevin was in Las Vegas, Keelan was in Le Mans representing the United States when there was 33 other countries being represented in that kart race there. And Kevin's not getting any younger. He doesn't like the car. It's not safe. Obviously, the changes aren't happening fast enough there. And so I think big picture as well as he's saying, you know what, I want to be able to travel with my kid and go do these things and be a part of that. And same thing that I think with Tony, with him going with Leah and going that direction to spend time with the people you want to spend time with before something happens.
Right. That's my point.
Walk away while you can.
Yep. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So really, I think that's really going to wrap it up for us. Actually, are you looking for the next sim rig upgrade? Or maybe your man cave needs a little more style? Or is your wife wanting to redecorate your home? Well, we here at Supreme 3D Printing have you covered. We create and print tons of different and useful items that is sure to fit everyone's style and budget. Check us out on Etsy at etsy.com/shop/Supreme 3D Printing. If you don't see what you're needing, then feel free to contact us for your needed item. You know what? Let's do something real quick. Let's do a little green flag, black flag. We're going to do it a little differently. And Neil, I'm going to take over this time for you just because I got a few questions in mind. And we'll start with this question. The Bubba Wallace incident, green flag or black flag for him retaliating after he gets out of his car? Brian, Rick, you can go first. He's going black flag.
Guy's a clown. Clown.
All right. Brian McCann, black
flag. So I think it was on yesterday's episode. Somebody brought up a good point. Larson just hit the wall at 160 some miles per hour, and it looked like he wasn't really had everything going on great when he got out of that car, and then here comes Bubba. So that's a black flag for me.
Alrighty, Neil, quick. Neil, oh, he's taking his time. He's being over dramatic over here. Black flag for Neil, quick. All right. And you got anything you want to add to that?
No comment. I've said enough on this mess.
All right. And then Chris Wally?
I've got this large black flag behind me here. It represents every bit of that.
All right. And I'm going to go black flag as well. Obviously, we're all in basically the same agreement here on why it's definitely a black flag. So next question we're going to go into with the rumor, and we're going to call it a rumor, that Tony Stewart has the thought of leaving NASCAR and pursuing his NHRA dreams right now. Brian, Rick, green flag or black flag?
I mean, I say that's a hard one because I'm such a fan of Tony Stewart. I mean, I'll watch him wherever he goes. If he's running an NHRA team, I'm there. If he's running a bicycle team, I'm watching it. So I'm green flag. If he wants to go do whatever, I'm still going. So it doesn't matter.
All right. Brian McCann?
So green flag. I like drag racing. I just got into a little bit of watching it. So if that's what he wants to do, do it. I'd hate to see somebody like that leave. I know you're fans of him, and so there's bad side and good side. Whatever's happy at the end of the day for him. That's what I wish.
All right, Neil, quick. Oh, you're muted.
Black flag.
Black flag. All right, I got to hear why.
Uh-oh.
Tony and NASCAR and Tony need each other. I mean, that's the best way I can explain it. We as fans need Tony Stewart to be involved with NASCAR, and NASCAR needs Tony Stewart to be there. Don't need to have this separation. And I understand what you guys are saying for Tony to go do the drag racing deal. He can still go do that. He still can be a good ambassador and be the party that he needs to be in NASCAR. And the biggest thing that I see here is NASCAR needs to open up and listen to Tony Stewart. And this is several of the drivers. I think that's a big problem right now. I think that's why you got a car that with the issues that you have, but I think this all goes the same way. I mean, I want Tony Stewart to be in the sport, just like what we were just talking about. I mean, Kyle's got a 14 on his car. Tony brought him into the sport. He's a fan. It's hard to watch a driver walk away. It's hard when they retire. I mean, it changes the sport for you. You really have to find a reason to turn it on and still enjoy it. And for me, I mean, most of us that went through the 80s and our drivers have retired, and we've watched a lot of good drivers retire, and fans go by the wayside. I think Tony Stewart needs to be involved. I hate to say it, it's a black flag for me.
Alrighty, really good points there. All right, Chris Wally.
You say quick?
I started to say quick.
Wally.
Did
He
he
wishes he was.
I
Did
started
he?
to say quick.
mess me up with Chris Quick? Is that what just happened there? Yeah, I'm not that pretty. Anyways. No, I'm gonna, I commented on it. I still have my thoughts that he's gonna do the drag racing thing. I think, he wants to spend time with the people he wants to spend time with. Brian, you touched on the culture over there, but I am gonna go black flag as well. I don't think Tony is gonna 100% just walk away. Is there trouble in paradise in a couple different areas? Probably, but anybody that's been in any kind of relationship knows that that's going to happen from time to time.
Yeah.
And and I think Tony knows that his half of the deal, there's a lot of people relying on that. And so I think they get it figured out, they get it worked out, and he's going to be involved in some kind of way there.
All right. And so I am going to go black flag, and I'm not going to lie. When I read this, I got a little choked up. And so for me, when it comes to NASCAR, there's only been 3 times that I have literally teared up. And one was the passing of Dale Sr. The other one was Tony Stewart when he retired. And then also Jeff Gordon watching his final race at Homestead when he retired. I will admit I bawled on a couple of those like a little baby. So to hear that he's possibly going to be walking away from the entire sport, it's hard to swallow growing up, idolizing, basically the man of NASCAR to me. So I'm going black flag for sure.
So were some of those descriptions there, is that about how you felt after the incident under yellow last week?
How do I mute Chris Wally? All right. And so I got 2 more questions. Next one's going to be covering Kevin Harvick and his potential retirement. So I'm going to go start off same order. Brian, Rick, your choice on black flag or green flag for Harvick's retirement. Black flag.
So I'm black flag. I mean, I don't want to see him retire. I think he's there's not too many, I don't want to call them cowboys, but cowboys are tough guys. Cowboys are in the grit race car drivers, and there's not too many left in NASCAR. So I would be sad if he retired, but wouldn't blame him.
All right. Brian McCann.
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat. Don't call me Ditto McCann, but yeah, for the same pretty much reasons. I know I just said that I didn't mind Tony Stewart leaving, but I do want to see Kevin Harvick stick around. So that's all I got.
All right, Neil, quick.
Yeah, guys. This kind of hits hard for me, kind of like for Kyle does, because um, I grew up with Rusty and being a big fan of Rusty Wallace, being from St. Louis, and Rusty retired in 2005, and after Senior was killed, my driver I picked up was Kevin Harvick. Watched him in the Busch Series, race the AC Delco #2 car, went to every Busch race, stayed glued to him, kind of picked him up as my driver from that point on. And it's tough. I don't want to see Kevin Harvick retire. I know the day's coming. It's going to be a tough one. Yeah, I can't tell you all the thoughts, but I'm a big fan of Kevin Harvick. I'd like to see him run one more year at least, and go out and have some success and end on a strong note.
All righty, and Chris Wally.
Yeah, I'm gonna black flag that as well. I mentioned earlier as far as having the opportunity to walk away from the sport healthy and spend time with his kid while he's racing all, but to the point that Neil just made there, as far as going out in a better light than where he is right now, I think the competitor in him is not going to allow him to walk away with where things sit right now. They've got a year under their belt with this car now. They've got a year of data. There are going to be some changes made to the car to help things. So I do see him coming back at least one more year to kind of have a little more of some shining glory, so to speak.
All righty. I'm going to go black flag as well. So when Senior passed away, I was, like everybody in the NASCAR world, was heartbroken. We see Harvick, I don't want to say come in and replace him, because he wasn't a replacement, but yet he was. So Kevin Harvick grew. Well, first Kevin Harvick, I think, kind of had a sour spot in everybody for probably half a season or so, and then he grew on everybody. And Kevin is just one of those guys that he's kind of like Carl Edwards. It's hard not to like him, you know? So yeah, to have Harvick step away, I hate to see it happen. So I'm going to black flag. And so with that, I'm going to bring up one last question. And so we have Alex Bowman, who's out with a concussion-like symptoms. We got Kurt Busch, who is out and announced his retirement with concussion-like symptoms. Excuse me, I can't speak. And, we've got, Noah Gragson, who's saying that he's scared to get into the Cup car with the opportunity of ruining his Xfinity career for the season, his championship run for the season, because he's afraid he's going to get hurt in these cars. We've got drivers speaking up about this car being completely unsafe. NASCAR, here we are 3/4 through the year. Actually, we're 90% through the season. And NASCAR has now decided, after all of this, that they want to go and they want to look at the car and they want to redevelop a rear end that crumples more. So I want your all's opinion on green flag, black flag, if you all think NASCAR waited too long after the first injury, after the first known entry. And let's also not forget that, we got Cody Ware, who's also out with concussion-like symptoms and injuries from his incident, which was a little different than Bowman or Kurt Busch. But regardless, new car, bad accident, with an injury. Brian, Rick?
I'm a green flag. I think, and I have a lot to say about this, but I think we should probably do that at NASCAR safety on another deal. But I'm green flag. I'm green flag.
All right. Yeah. You don't have to give your reasons for right now. And before I go to you, Brian McCann, real quick, we do have a new segment called Holler Talk that I would love for everyone to check out, where we do short little videos, usually about a half hour long, and we different topics. So this will be a topic coming up here in the next couple of days. So keep your eyes out for it. But Brian McCann, go ahead with yours.
Yeah, so I would have liked to see NASCAR address that a little earlier. And, all the drivers getting injured, and then some of the drivers saying they don't even want to enter the car. And man, I know I wouldn't want to get in the race car knowing everything that's happened. So I'm glad they're addressing it now.
All right, Neil, quick.
I'm gonna go ditto on this one. I agree with ditto 100% up there. I mean, exactly what he said. I mean, it's scary when the drivers are telling you they don't want to get in the car.
All of them. That's all of them.
Yeah.
And at that point, when that starts happening, man, you guys really have got to get in a situation. You got to make some changes.
Definitely. And then Chris Wally.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have a little build up here first. So number one, yes, things are bad. Things could be better, and known changes or known conversations about making the car better could have come to light a little sooner. I saw a short video the other day. It wasn't even racing related, but it said that really people only know what you think you know.
Right.
And I am still under so I'm gonna actually go Black Flag. I think, isn't Black Flag saying that they're doing their job? I think that there's conversation being made. I think there were always conversations being made, even if they were not publicly made. Because I do believe that NASCAR, the people that they have, are smart enough to know what they need to do, but also think they're also smart enough not to make a comment on something until they probably have a pretty good idea of what they're going to do about it. It's like people with opinions, right? If you don't have something to help resolve the issue, don't start bitching about the issue.
Yeah.
I'm hearing what you're saying, but I mean, these guys came out before the season. They knew they had problems. I mean, this thing started before the cars even hit the track. The telemetry coming in was not good.
Yeah, and I hear that, and not that NASCAR's not at fault, but I do think that until it is truly tested with, and unfortunately, it's the guys, it's the drivers that are the test dummies, the real life test dummies. It took somebody getting hurt, and you go, okay, is this a one-time incident? No. Then it took a second person. And then you're like, okay, now it's an issue. And then it really took that strike three with that third person saying, absolutely something needs to be done. I think at that point, that's when they start really voicing, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. When they've probably been having those conversations, they've probably at least been looking into it. Again, it should have happened faster. Everybody knew that they talked about the smaller hits being the ones that were really bothering the guys physically. So no doubt NASCAR is definitely, at fault for even putting the car on the track if they, knowing all the information they knew. But I would feel like they're not that naive to the point that they were not at least having conversations and trying to figure out what can we do with this build that they have to manipulate it and make it safe, safer with whatever that change is. Because you don't want to go too far in left field and freaking puncture a fuel cell or anything like that. So it definitely had to be engineered properly.
Well, and not to sound like a smartass, I mean, the guys that were obviously developing the arms and the toe links and the steering racks, as shitty as they have been, they should have been the guys developing maybe the crush panels on the front and back of the cars.
That's a good point. Yeah, if it's going to break, make sure it's the right spots, right?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like shit breaks on this car all over the place in the wrong spots. I mean, but on the other hand, when you see some of these hard crashes, these cars don't have a whole lot of damage. I mean, some of these hits that they do hit, I mean, backing in the wall as hard as they do. I mean, when you look at Kurt Busch's deal, I mean, that car hit the wall a ton.
And it to me, my opinion is you could make the cage itself, right there around the, like a 4-point cage kind of deal where it's tough as nails. It's not really gonna move, but everything else break away. Even right where the bolts all bolt in right there to the rear and the front. Even if those come off and say the car cuts in two, right? Just being, a little extra on that. But let's say that car completely breaks away from the cab. That's probably still safer than what they have right now.
Well, I think, and knowing a little bit more and building some of the miles that I do of these cars and stuff, I mean, looking at the shit that they've got engineered, and basically you now have the transmission at the rear of the car, and you have all that reinforced because you don't want the back of that car to crush and break those expensive transmissions that they have back there. I mean, that's a lot of the engineering that went behind it, and the way Kirky is engineered these aluminum bumpers on the front and back of the car with all the trusses in it and gussets and stuff. The car's rigid as hell. I mean, it's basically a Trans Am style car that we're racing on an oval track.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, if the car doesn't give, what does? And it's the driver.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kyle?
I'm gonna go green flag. NASCAR's just they've had they had 2.5 years of development with this car. You would have thought that there would have been more testing as far as how the car is going to react in situations. Granted, you can't recreate every scenario. Every scenario is going to be different, but you can get a general idea of how the car is going to react in a situation where it's backed into a wall at race speed, and you can put G meters in the car and figure out what the G load is in an accident, and that's going to give you a good idea of if you've got a safe enough race car. I mean, since 2001, NASCAR has prided themselves on their safety development, and they have always continued to make the car safer for the driver. I just, like I was listening, I think it was either Door Bumper Clear or Stacking Pennies 1 and 2, and it's kind of like NASCAR was doing great, and then all of a sudden they took a few steps back with the new car and safety. So, like I said, green flag that they should have been on top of this a lot sooner. I think even during testing before 2022 season even started, they should have been on top of it.
NASCAR missed it, and I'm going to save the rest of that for another show.
Yeah, we got that coming up here soon, so look for that.
Can I give a little honesty here?
Yeah.
So I don't have my green flag with me. All I have is a big black flag behind me. So I kind of had to go with it the whole night.
Here, you can have mine.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, we need to go into our fantasy picks. So the running order goes, I've got first pick, Brian. Rick has second pick. Neil has third pick. Brian McCann has fourth. And then Chris Wally has fifth. We are at Homestead, boys. So it's going to, I don't know if there's going to be any rim riding with this car. No one knows. Well, I don't know anything about this car at this track. I don't think they've only done, a little bit of testing, right? So for my pick, I am going to pick, I'm going to go with Christopher Bell on this one. I think that's, Christopher Bell.
I am going to take Kyle Larson.
You suck.
I was thinking the same thing.
I mean, he's coming back. He's going to put it on the fence, and he's driving away from this thing.
I chose Reddick already, right?
Neil Quick. Yes, he was your third pick.
Denny Hamlin.
That's a good one, actually. I was looking at the stats. He's won. A Gibbs car has won 1, 2. Well, yeah, 3 out of the last 7. 2 out of the last 3.
See, I should get bonus points for picking the actual race winner too.
I was just making up the rules. He's acting like he's in the IROC series, making crap up in the middle of the deal. Somebody should fire that guy.
All right, so after Neil came McCann.
Hamlin.
Nope, you can't pick him. Neil's already picked him.
Oh,
Yeah,
is that okay? I'll go with Neil's first pick, Reddick.
All right.
that sucks.
You just screwed him twice.
And then
No, you screwed me the first time. I take it once.
yeah. No, I'm blaming it on McCann though.
I blame everything on McCann too.
I
Wally.
need to know who I even have available.
I'll read them off to you. You have, this is just playoff drivers. You can still choose from regular drivers if you want. You have all of those available. But what you have available in playoff is Elliott, Larson. Well, Elliott, Hamlin, and Bell and Briscoe. Now, the ones that have been eliminated are Larson, Reddick, Dillon, Suarez, and Cindric. You also have available.
But he can't pick a driver that we've already picked, right?
Correct. So,
Yeah.
Bell, he couldn't pick. Reddick, he couldn't pick. Larson. So, you'd have to go with, if you want a current playoff driver, you have to go with
You have to
Elliott.
go with like
Elliott
Gilliland.
You do have Briscoe and Elliott that's still in that you could go with.
Or David Reagan.
I gotta save Elliott for Phoenix, unless somebody else gets him. Have I already used Kyle Busch?
Chris, yes, he was your second pick.
Well, I have to use him. Chase Elliott.
Ooh.
None of you turns went with Chastain.
I thought about it.
I think I already used him.
I've got him.
Yeah, you
I've
used
got-
Chris.
I've got Elliott, Chastain. I just burned up Larson. I've got Reddick and Kyle Busch. I'm feeling pretty good towards the end of this thing.
All right,
I'm gonna
so
start using some non-playoff drivers towards the end.
well, we're only got 2 races left.
Yeah.
So as it stands right now, Chris Wally has 1 win on the season, on the playoff season. Neil Quick has 2. I have 3, and Brian Rick has 1, and McCann
Damn.
has 0. So 2 races left in the playoff after, 3 if you count Homestead. So there's still chances for someone to come up with a win, and if Neil can get 1 more, then it's going to be a really tight battle to the end. But with
What
that,
if Neil gets 1 and then me and Brian sweep the next 2 and it's a 3-way tie?
Then what?
um,
We have to do a drag race on iRacing.
I'm going to. I figured it would probably be whoever got the actual winner of the Las Vegas race right wins it all regardless. So, champion right here. No,
I'm thinking Brian McCann comes in and sweeps the whole deal. He wins 3 in a row right here.
he could.
Bold chance.
I don't know. I mean, you got
Oh,
Reddick,
no.
and Reddick's pretty strong there. So, but with that, I think that's all I've got for tonight. Anybody got any final thoughts they want to get out there?
Yeah, we got the All-Star race Thursday night, racing for $100, a few plaques from R&R Racewear. It's gonna be a fun one. So it's the haven't released how the race is gonna go just yet. That's still to come. But that'll be out there on our Facebook page, IROC series page. So check us out.
How many drivers we got?
I think about 15, 16 drivers.
Am
Last
I
I
in it?
counted. Say that again.
So am I in it? I don't remember if I am or not.
I hope not. Let me
Man, they got- I'm starting to feel bad for him.
I know. I'm getting hated over here.
No, let's see here. Y'all go ahead with y'all's last thoughts, and I'll figure out
All right,
what
yeah.
we got.
Go ahead, Neil.
I'm Bubba and Kyle Larson out, so
Yep.
we got to figure out something else to talk about. Kind of excited to see the last couple weekends of racing, and that's all I got. Basically, I want to say, just like talking some racing. So
All right. I'll go ahead and go real quick. My final thought is I'm in agreement with Neil there about Bubba and Larson out right now, but we do have one more episode at least to bring it up once we know the results from NASCAR and their decisions. If they even have anything to say, they may not. A lot of speculation out there that says they may not. So we'll see. So looking forward to Holler Talk tomorrow on Tuesday night. So I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Brian McCann.
Yeah, looking forward to the race this week in the IROC Challenge. Did have a question. Have we talked or released about which setup we're going to be using?
Coming. So I haven't figured that one out. Oh wait, no, we're running that IRP with what was that gear, Neil?
637 gear.
637. So
right.
yeah, so we'll be doing that. But we've got 14 drivers. So 14 drivers for the race. Thursday night, short track racing. The racing is going to be set up a little bit different. So be on the lookout for that.
Alrighty. And McCann, you got anything else you want to add to that?
I'm good.
All right, Mr. Brian Rick, you can close us out there, sir.
I'm with everybody else. I'm tired of talking about Darrell Wallace and Kyle Larson. So I'm going to end it like this. We were going to announce something really big tonight. I want everybody to keep checking back. We're not quite ready to do it yet, but I think everybody's going to be really, really excited when we do. So we'll just say that we're going to a whole new level. So check back often, and you'll see some videos and a lot of information coming out. So just stay tuned.
Any kind of time frame we can give the listeners here? You think?
I would say, honestly, we were hoping to do it tonight. Some things didn't pan out the way we wanted them, so maybe I'd say by next Monday we will announce something. If not sooner, if we get all this done beforehand, we'll do a special episode and get it all out there for everybody to see.
All right, everyone, y'all hear it right there. We got some big news coming down the pipe. Just stay tuned. So don't go anywhere. Make sure you're tuning in. Keep it up with our Facebook page as well. We're making an announcement there as well. But with that, I'm out. I'll see you all later, guys.
See y'all next week.
Kyle here to remind you to check us out on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and Twitch.